Hello YouTube! Today in the Naughty Librarian I am going over my April TBR list. I have so much stuff on April's TBR list. Like, it's kind of bonkers at this point, like how much stuff is on that list. But you know, it is what it is. I got a lot on it. Let's start going through it. First things first, I'm gonna go big and talk about The Atlas 6 by Olivie Blake. This was selected by my patrons as our April book club pick of the month, and the live show is going to be on May 1st, so it's a Sunday at 12 p.m. Again, that's patron exclusive, so if you want to join my Patreon, the link is in the description down below. But yes, I am so excited for this one. It's gonna be so good. I've heard nothing but amazing things about it. Like, I want to see what the hype is for myself, you know? So this one, it's dark academia. There's like people competing to go to this magic school, and like it's gonna be like dark. Maybe there's going to be spooky stuff happening. There's gonna be maybe betrayals. Like, I don't know. I'm just here for all the juicy magical details. Again, this is the patron book club pick for April, and I'm so excited to read it with all of you. Speaking of book club books, I also have A Lady's Guide to Mischief and Mayhem by Amanda Collins, and this is the official pick for the Blades and Bodice Rippers book club. The live show is going to be on my channel this time. It's going to be April 30th, which is a Saturday. We're still pinning down the time when I'm recording this, but we think it's going to actually be in the evening that night instead of the morning. So it's going to be a Saturday night show. And this one sounds really fun. Like, there's going to be zany capers in it. So we have Catherine, right? She is a reporter, and you know, she's a lady, and people think it's vulgar for ladies to write about crime and murder, but that's what she likes to write about. And she ends up like kind of solving a murder with her reporting, which is like great. She's like has her own notoriety now, but it's like a lot. So she's like, okay, I'm gonna go to the country, just take a break. And then she gets to the country, and you know what happens? She witnesses another murder. Enter Andrew, who's like this inspector, police detective guy who is kind of still miffed at her for ruining his other case, and now she's on another case with him, and he's like, oh my gosh. And I feel like it's gonna be like enemies to lovers. They're solving crimes. They're making out, probably. I don't know how smutty this is, but I'm hoping for at least a dash of smut. But I'm excited. It's a murdery, reportery mystery, and it's gonna be our book of the month. I will hope to see everybody there. The live show is gonna be a good time. Now, Drug Classics, I think it's kind of a book club at this point, but like my pick for April, I am very excited about, although like I'm using the term classic a little loosely. I'm gonna read Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice. I haven't read it yet, and I am so excited. You know what, this came out in the 70s. That's like 50 years ago. I think it counts as a classic at this point. So I am so excited to read it. I want all of my like foppish New Orleans vampires. I want lace, like whatever this thing is. What are those things called? The ruffle lace like cravat. I want a lacy ruffly cravat and biting of people. I want it all. I feel like it's safe to say a lot of people have seen the movie adaptation. I've seen the movie adaptation and liked it, but I'm sure there are a lot of differences between the movie adaptation and the book. So I am so excited to read this. I think it just fits with like red wine and drama, and I'm into that. So yes, official Drunk Classics pick for April is going to be Interview with the Vampire. It's going to be premiering on April 23rd, I believe. So if you want to read it, that's when it's going to premiere, and we can live chat during it, but I'm so excited. I'm just going to go through my romance section real quick here, and I have 10 Things I Hate About the Duke by Loretta Chase. Now, this is one of those books I picked out of like my TBR jar to get through my back catalog, and I am excited to read it. You know, like Loretta Chase has been a very up and down author for me. I pretty much have only liked one book by this author, but I keep trying for more because I really liked that book. So I'm hoping a newer book might be like filling that desire I want for Loretta Chase. We'll find out. Like the title suggests, it's kind of 10 Things I Hate About You, which is also Taming of the Shrew. It's very much that kind of story. So we're following Cassandra, right? She's like this very opinionated young lady, And, you know, she's kind of alienated a lot of husbands on the, you know, the marriage mart. And her father's exasperated. She's like, you know what? Your younger sister can't get married till you get married. But uh-oh, the Duke of Ashmont shows up and he is a scoundrel. And like things happen that's going to make like Cassandra's like reputation in tatters and stuff. So she's like, oh no, I've ruined my sister's life. However, you know, it's unsporting to ruin a lady's like reputation. So I guess they're going to have to get married and hopefully she won't murder him in his sleep. There you go. So I am really excited for this one. It has like kind of that enemies to lovers, maybe a bit diabolical nature that I really, really loved in Lord of Scoundrels by Loretta Chase. So fingers crossed this one works for me. I'm really hoping it does. I am also going to read Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey. And this one, I'm just reading this for laughs and smut. Like, I'll be honest with you guys. It's going to be smutty and it's going to be funny, and that's really all I'm expecting out of it. So this is one of those friends to lovers situation. We have Fox and Hannah, and like they're friends, and like, you know, it's weird because Fox is kind of like the town playboy and he doesn't really have female friends, but like he's friends with Hannah. And so he's like, oh no, you're my one female friend. And she's like, hey, you're good at flirting and stuff. I'm trying to hook up with this guy over there. Teach me how to do it good. And he's like, okay. And then you have the lovely trope of, oh no, I was only trying to get you with this other person, but uh-oh, I'm in love with you now. Whoops. So it's one of those. I'm expecting smut. I'm expecting laughs. I am expecting zany antics. It's going to be rom-com gold. I'm fully expecting to enjoy this. I am also going to be reading Sweet Hand by N.G. Peltier, and this one was highly recommended to me by all of my lovely subscribers in a live chat we had, and I am very excited to read it. This is kind of another enemies to lovers story. It's Cherise and Kieran. So Cherise, she's kind of sworn off dating. However, she's back home on the island and her little sister is getting married. She's like, great, this is gonna take all the pressure off me. Everyone's gonna focus on that. Turns out, uh-oh, Kieran, this guy that she has like history with that's not good, is the best man at the wedding. So like, uh-oh, they're forced proximity, best man, maid of honor, they have to hang out a lot. Enemies to lovers. I don't know how much sexual tension there will be, but there's going to be a lot. And also it's very food based, I've heard. There's a lot of cooking in it. I think she's a baker. So like, I love it. I love a food based romance. I just like food and I like romance, and you put them together and I'm a very happy little reader girl. And kind of all the rest of the books I am reading this month are all like chonky fantasies. I may have put too many chonky books on this list. We'll find out. First up, I have Jade City by Fonda Lee. I am finally reading it. Oh my goodness. As you can see, I have tabbed it a bunch because I'm starting reading it literally when I finish filming this video. I'm going to start reading it. So I have like my markers in. And I am very excited to read it. I hear nothing but amazing things about it. I know it's fantasy and it's kind of like mafia related. And like other than that, I don't know a whole lot more, and I'm kind of okay with it. Like I want to go in a little blind just to see what happens, because I've only heard good things. I don't want to like influence my reading too much and have it be overhyped. So I'm going in as blind as possible, but I know it's fantasy mafia and like already I'm kind of into it. Also on deck, I have Blood Scion by Deborah Falahey, and this one is YA fantasy and it sounds really good. Like a morally gray main character, dark choices have to be made. It's also, you know, African inspired, and it's gonna be really cool. Fingers crossed. I really hope it will. Like, I'll just read like this little red part of the blurb here because it kind of says everything I needed to say about the book. I am a descendant of Shango, the god of heat and fire. I am a living inferno. I am a dead girl walking. Gasp! I love it. Okay, so I'm so excited to read this one. I'm really hoping it's good. I am picky about my YA fantasy, so hopefully I'm gonna love this. Speaking of YA fantasy, here's another one. I have Ecstasia by Claire Legrand. Although this one might be a bit more horror related, but yeah, you put Claire Legrand and horror in the same sentence and like, I am buying it. This was an auto buy for me. I love Claire Legrand's like horror works. Like if you haven't read the book Sawkill Girls, what are you doing? Go read it right now. It's incredible. So we're kind of following this like order of saints. I think they're like battle nuns essentially, and they have to defend their village from like this evil that comes out of the mountains and it's been killing men in the village, and they're women saints. So like there's probably something with that I haven't explored yet because I haven't read the book. But yeah, I just heard Claire Legrand and horror again and I was like in. I'm assuming there's gonna be bloody gory bits and there's gonna be like scary stuff. and also magic. I don't know. I'm really excited for it. I think it's gonna be really good. Last YA fantasy I'm going to be reading this April is Gallant by V.E. Schwab. This one I am really hoping for the best on. It's kind of like a secret garden if it was like horror. I think it's a good way of putting it. You know, there's this young girl, she's always been away from this like property named Gallant, and that's kind of where her family's from. One day she gets a letter saying, hey, go back to Gallant. She's like, okay. She shows up, no one wrote her this letter, something spooky is afoot. And then like there's doors that you're not supposed to open because you don't know where they're gonna go, essentially. So like portal fantasy maybe, I don't know. But there's also a lot of art in the book and like pages with like 3 words on it. So I don't know how this is gonna necessarily play out, but I'm trying to find some art. So like there's all this art and I'm excited to read it. It's also such an odd shape, right? It's like very square, which I feel like book nerds who like their shelves to be perfect are just having a conniption over because it's an odd shape. But I am very excited to read it. I do love V.E. Schwab. Fingers crossed this is a good one. I am also going to read The Bone Orchard by Sarah A. Mueller, and I have been really wanting to read this. I just put it off for a long time, but I'm reading it now, so it's the thought that counts. This one we're following our main character, Mistress Charm, and she's like the head, she's like the madam of a brothel, right? And she's also like, I think, a race of magical people, like necromancers, and she has basically, you know, kind of been enslaved by the emperor. And I think they have a very complicated relationship because eventually the emperor gets himself killed, but he also charges Mistress Charm to solve his murder because he's like, hey, it's one of my asshole sons did it, you figure out who it is. And then she has to figure it out, but by doing so she will gain her freedom. So it's like a very complex story here. There's going to be so many interesting themes. I think it's going to be very thought-provoking, and also necromancy. There's going to be like bone magic and stuff, and I'm very excited to read it. I'm just hoping for the best. I have purposely not been reading any reviews of it because I want to go in with a clean slate, and I'm very excited. I think it's gonna be really good. Last up, I'm going to be reading The Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James. I love a Simone St. James book. Like, the cool thing about them is they're always like dual time period. They have amazing kick-ass female heroines and like ghosts. There's always a bunch of ghosts. So if you like ghosts, these are the books for you. So this takes place back in 1977 and in the near present of 2017. And back in 1977, there was this gruesome murder, right? And there was this one woman, her name was Beth, and she was like the main suspect. However, she was exonerated and did not serve any time for it because she didn't do it. And, you know, it's been like a big mystery since because she just became kind of like a recluse in her big mansion. And so now we're back to the present, and we're following this woman, Shay. She's kind of like a receptionist by day, but by night she runs like a true crime podcast. And then she happens to cross Beth's path, and she's like, oh my gosh, can I interview you? And Beth is a recluse, so it's really weird that Beth says, okay, come to my house. Creepy, am I right? And so they start having interviews, relationship with each other. There's ghosts. There has to be a ghost. There's always a ghost in these books. So I am very excited for it. Oh, I love them. I love them so much. This was a pre-order. I'm so excited. All right, so that does it for April. I have a lot of books on this TBR, but that's mainly just because I want to read everything. And like, I'm trying my best to get it all done. We'll find out if it'll happen. But I'm really enjoying the books I picked. I think they're all potentially going to be very good. Fingers crossed. I don't know. Who knows? We'll find out together. Let me know in the comments down below what's on your deck for April. Is there something you're really super interested in reading, or is it something the same as me? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like, and if you want to see more videos, make sure you subscribe. And if you want cool exclusive content, join my Patreon. The link is in the description down below. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye!